Temperatures hitting the 70s across the area today. We may flirt with records over the next few days. We'll break down the forecast just ahead.
A crash in Lexington shuts down one of the busiest roads in the city.
The wife of a man accused of killing a 7-year-old Kentucky girl is talking about the new allegations against him.
This is WKYT News at 4.
Good afternoon to you and welcome to WKYT News at 4. I'm Amber Philpott reporting. Jennifer has the afternoon off. A case of spring fever is running wild across central and eastern Kentucky. This is a live picture of downtown Lexington from one of our sky cams, and that is a pretty good shot out there. Temperatures are hitting their highest levels since early last November, but eventually that's going to lead to some showers and thunderstorms. Let's check in first with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. Let's just go outside today.
I say we take the show on the road and may just carry it out there for the next couple of days as well, Amber. A little more in the way of some afternoon clouds, but boy, full sunshine a little earlier in the day, really boosting those temperatures. Right now in Lexington, the thermometer is into the low 70s, 72 degrees. Humidity is way down there as well, and you got to remember it is the spring forest fire season that we are entering into, so keep that in mind. 70 to 75 across the entire area right now. 70 in Danville, the cool spot, 75. Prestonsburg, Jackson, and Ashland as the warm spots to go along with Bowling Green. Tomorrow we're going to add additional numbers on top of what you see here. Here's your Defender Radar Network. No precipitation, so we throw a little bit of cloud cover into the mix. But overall, it's about this warm southerly flow that just continues to dominate the weather pattern around here and will do so for the next couple of days. Big area of high pressure across the southeastern seaboard, keeping all those thunderstorms west of the Mississippi River to our west, at least until we get into the second half of the week. When I come back in a few minutes, Amber, we'll time the rounds of thunderstorms into central and eastern Kentucky with the hour-by-hour forecast. That's in 15 minutes.
We will see you then, Chris. Thank you. 2 fugitives have been arrested in the murder of a Lexington teenager. 19-year-old Marquez Smith and another man who was a juvenile at the time of the crime have been charged with murder, assault, and robbery. Both men were wanted in connection to the January shooting death of 18-year-old Caleb Hallett. Police say they responded to a shots fired call on University Avenue. Officers say they found 2 victims with gunshot wounds. Hallett didn't survive. 2 other juveniles connected to the case were already in custody. A 5th suspect, Kenyon Hips, shot and killed himself in Ohio. We'll have more on the new developments in this case ahead for you on WKYT News at 6. A busy Lexington intersection is back open now after being closed for hours today because of an early morning crash. 2 semis collided at Richmond Road and Man-O-War at 6 this morning. Cleanup was completed about 2:30 this afternoon. WKYT's Victor Puente is on the scene with more on the traffic impact it created. It's our top story at 4.
It wasn't just those 2 tractor trailers that crews had to clean up. They also had an environmental issue because of a fuel spill from one of those semis. The crash happened around 6 this morning and kept the inner loop of Man-O-War closed for more than 11 hours. Firefighters say they got the call of 2 semis that had hit head-on at the intersection of Man-O-War and Richmond Road. They used the jaws of life to get one of those drivers out. The other was able to exit his truck on his own. Not only did they have to unload both trailers before they could be hauled away, they also had to worry about diesel fuel leaking from one of those gas tanks. An environmental response company, PECO, handled the cleanup. That included removing dirt from the side of the road that may have had diesel soak into it. They also had to make sure that fuel didn't drain into a nearby creek.
Right, we want to keep that out of the storm drains. Anytime we get, petroleum products like that, the best thing is not to introduce it anywhere close to where it's going to be a danger to, to people. There's soil that's involved over here on the side. PECO's going to have a lot of work to do.
It wasn't until just after 2:30 this afternoon that Man-O-War finally reopened. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Both drivers were transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A man accused in the murder of a 7-year-old Allen County girl is facing some new allegations, and his wife is now speaking out. Timothy Madden is charged with murder and rape in the death of Gabby Doolin in Allen County last fall. Police say a West Virginia boy claims Madden tried to lure him into an RV a month before Gabby was killed. Madden's wife says the boy's claims can't be true because Madden was with her that day at a physical rehab center in Bowling Green.
The TV, and he was convinced. He said, "Dad, that's the guy who tried to talk me into getting in the camper with him."
There's a picture to prove it. I raised my arm for the first time, And Timmy sent that to my sister-in-law. He took it and sent it.
Well, she didn't want to say much about the murder case against Madden, only that the last few months have been difficult for her and her family. We're working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon, Amber. Police want to find a driver they say hit a man on a bicycle and didn't stop to help him. The hit and run happened about 7 last night on Highway 80 near the Shopville community in Pulaski County. Witnesses say the driver of a black truck hit a man on a bicycle pulling a shopping cart. The driver of that truck did stop to look at the damage on his truck, but police say once he learned he hit a man on a bike, he took off. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, you'll hear the 911 calls from the people who did try to stop and help. House Speaker Greg Stumbo testifying today on a bill he estimates will affect about 26,000 Kentuckians who are working on a minimum wage. Today, the Speaker announced a substitute to the bill, making an increase from $7.25 an hour to $8.10 an hour to happen within a year. The bill also increases what's called the threshold from $95,000 to $500,000, meaning any employer who makes less than $500,000 annually will not be affected.
They're not high school kids anymore. They're working mothers. They're people who are working 2 or 3 jobs to make it. So this gives them some relief.
We'll have more on the here ahead on WKYT News coming up at 5:30. Voters in some counties are heading to the polls today to pick new state representatives. There are 4 races in today's election, 2 of them in central Kentucky. Voters in parts of Scott, Fayette, and Owen counties are deciding who will represent the 62nd district. In Boyle and Casey counties, voters are choosing a representative for the 54th House District. Now, if Republicans win all 4 seats today, they'll have enough members in the House to split power with the Democrats 50-50. The Democrats have been in the majority in the House for 95 years here in Kentucky. Polls close at 6 o'clock tonight. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. Now to some stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Donald Trump says he loves to win and is expecting to pick up more delegates today. So what do the latest polls say about Trump's challengers beating him in today's so-called Super Tuesday number 2? Scott McLean has the report.
What pundits have called missteps
like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Have turned out to be wins for Donald Trump.
Every single poll had me winning big leagues, so that's good. I like that.
But this challenge, he might want to rethink.
I would love to take on Ted one-on-one.
That's because while a new national ABC News Washington Post poll shows Trump leading by 9 points over his closest competitor, Ted Cruz, that lead disappears if the field narrows to just 2. Cruz would easily trounce Trump one-on-one, 54 to 41%. According to the poll, as would Marco Rubio, 51 to 45%. Those numbers released ahead of full Republican contests today, where Donald Trump is expecting more wins.
I think he's likely to get a boost today, both in Michigan and in Mississippi. It's going to be hard to stop.
Hawaii, Idaho, and Mississippi all vote Tuesday, but the biggest delegate prize is Michigan, where Ohio Governor John Kasich hopes to gain momentum ahead of the primary in his state next week. Florida also votes on March 15th, and polls show Senator Marco Rubio trails Trump in his home state. But Rubio just got some high-profile help.
I'm calling on behalf of Marco Rubio for president.
Former Republican nominee Mitt Romney voicing an anti-Trump robocall going out to Florida voters. The support coming as some Rubio advisors tell him to drop out early, a claim Rubio is publicly refuting. In Washington, I'm Scott McLean.
Ohio and Florida are the next big prize on the election calendar. They both vote next Tuesday, along with Illinois, North Carolina, and Missouri. Funeral arrangements are now set for former First Lady Nancy Reagan. Her funeral will be held Friday at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. Mrs. Reagan will lie in repose for public visitation tomorrow and again Thursday. Friday's private funeral is set to start at 11 at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. The White House says First Lady Michelle Obama will attend. Mrs. Reagan will then be buried next to her husband at the library. She died Sunday of congestive heart failure. Nancy Reagan was 94 years old. Apple has to pay $450 million to settle a case over e-book price fixing. That begins today's Money Watch. Most of the money will go back to customers. Apple was found guilty of conspiring with 5 major publishers to inflate e-book prices. The Supreme Court has declined to hear Apple's appeal. Facebook says it is in the mix to soon be live streaming NFL games. A Facebook executive tells Variety that the social media giant is bidding to live stream Thursday night football games next season. Amazon, Verizon, and other streaming leaders are also said to be interested in the package. The NFL is currently negotiating with companies to live stream the Thursday night games. It previously reached an agreement with CBS and NBC to broadcast the games over the next 2 seasons on TV. It's not clear how much a company will pay the NFL to live stream football games. The Thursday TV package is currently worth $450 million. The TSA is warning passengers to expect longer lines at the airport as they prepare for millions of spring break travelers. The number of passengers is up more than 7% compared to this time last year. They're advising flyers to get to the airport early. And just in case you didn't know, it is National Pancake Day, and that means IHOP is giving away a free short stack of buttermilk pancakes from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The restaurant chain is asking customers to leave a donation to Children's Miracle Network. The campaign has raised nearly $20 million since 2006. It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Fears of listeria have hit Starbucks. The FDA says the company is recalling its prepackaged sausage, egg, and cheddar breakfast sandwich. No illnesses have been reported as a result. Take a look. These oranges have a lot of people seeing red on social media. So much it's prompted Whole Foods to act. This picture shows packages of pre-peeled oranges sitting in plastic containers. After thousands of retweets and rants, Whole Foods said it was a mistake and pulled the product. In a tweet, Whole Foods promised to leave the oranges in their natural packaging. Notice anything different about your mac and cheese? Well, it appears no one else does either. We're guessing that's a good thing for Kraft Heinz. The company removed artificial preservatives and dyes from its mac and cheese recipe late last year with the newer, less artificial ones. The company has sold more than 50 million boxes of the new mac and cheese so far. Kraft launched a marketing campaign Monday starring former Daily Show and Late Late Show host Craig Kilborn. With so many food items disguised as healthy, it's often hard to know what's really good for you and what's not. Mary Maloney shows you what to look out for.
Despite our best intentions to eat healthy, we sometimes fall short when it comes to making the right selections. But how do you know what to avoid? For starters, skip the frozen dinners. Yes, they're easy and convenient, but they're also filled with preservatives, lots of sodium, and very few vegetables. You may be tempted to order a salad at a fast food restaurant, but think twice. Toppings like croutons, nuts, and dressings can add up the calorie count. When cruising the snack aisle at the grocery store, don't be so quick to grab those veggie chips. The veggies are cut thin and then processed, removing much of the nutritional value. Can't go wrong with fruits, right? Well, when it comes to fruit cocktails, apparently you can. Most are made with a sugary syrup that adds 0 nutritional value. A lot of people would consider tea a healthy beverage, but some bottled teas usually contain artificial flavorings. And don't be fooled by some of the fat-free items like yogurt. Many popular brands have as much as 15 grams of sugar in a single serving. Best advice? Always check the nutrition content or ask to see one. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.